February 9th, 2025, 11:47 p.m. The Leawood Estate, the home Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce had built together over the last 8 months, had never felt so cold. The house, usually warm with music and laughter, seemed to hold its breath as if it already knew something disastrous was about to happen. Travis stood near the fireplace, his hands balled into fists, jaw locked so tight a muscle twitched beneath his cheek. Across the room, by the grand piano, Taylor's mascara streaked in dark, trembling lines down her face, proof of the tears she'd been shedding for nearly an hour. The fight had begun over something small. It always does. A simple call from Taylor's publicist during dinner. Working late again Tuesday and Wednesday, Taylor had said casually, cutting her chicken. Travis had slowly put down his fork. Let me guess. With the same producer you've been spending so much time with lately, Calvin Harris. His name had hung in the air like a toxin. Calvin, an ex, but now a professional collaborator, had been producing 3 tracks for Taylor's upcoming album. She had told Travis months ago. He said he was fine with it. Clearly he wasn't. We're working, Taylor said, her voice tightening. We're professionals. Making music until 2 in the morning isn't. You couldn't work during the day? Travis cut in. You have to be alone with your ex-boyfriend in a recording studio in the middle of the night? And that's when everything tore open. Taylor's voice rose, shaky but sharp. After everything we've been through, you're questioning my loyalty because I'm working with someone I dated years ago? Seriously? It's not just about Calvin. Travis fired back. It's everything, Taylor. You always choose your career first. It landed like a punch. And I had to find out from TMZ, emphasize the name like an accusation, that you're extending your European tour. TMZ, Taylor. Not from you. I was going to tell you, she argued. My team just finalized it yesterday. There's never time. Travis exploded. Never time for me. Never time for us. Do you know how many nights I sit here alone while you're off chasing something else for your career? Do you know what it's like to be engaged to someone who's never actually here? The words hit her so hard she physically flinched. You knew who I was when we started dating, Taylor whispered. You said you could handle it. Maybe I was wrong, Travis said, and instantly regretted it. Maybe I can't. Maybe that's why all your other relationships failed. Her face drained of all color. Get out of this room, she said, her voice suddenly low and chilling. Right now, I need a minute. But Travis didn't move. Months of frustration, fear, insecurity, jealousy poured out of him like a flood he couldn't stop. You want the truth? He snapped. My mom warned me about this. She said it wouldn't work, that you're from a different world, that no matter how much I love you, a part of your life will always be out of reach for me. And maybe she was right. The moment those words left his mouth, silence fell like a blade. Taylor stared at him, not hurt now, but numb, frozen. Your mom said that? She asked, almost whispering. Donna told you I'm too different? Too famous? Too much for you. He opened his mouth, then closed it. He had gone too far and he knew it, but he couldn't take it back. Not tonight. Taylor walked to the coffee table, picked up her engagement ring. She didn't throw it, didn't slam it. She set it down gently, deliberately, an act somehow more devastating than anger. Then maybe you should listen to your mother, she said. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe I'm too much for you, too successful, too complicated. Maybe you should find someone simpler. Taylor, I didn't mean. You meant every word, she cut him off. And the worst part? You talked to your mother about our relationship falling apart instead of talking to me. She stepped toward the stairs. I'm packing a bag. I'm staying at a hotel tonight. And tomorrow we're going to discuss what happens next. Because I won't stay in a relationship where your family thinks I'm not good enough. But what Taylor didn't know, what would take 5 agonizing days to uncover, was that Travis had just told the most dangerous lie of their entire relationship. A lie that could destroy everything. And the house, cold and silent, seemed to know it too. Taylor's footsteps echoed upstairs, hurried, uneven, breaking the silence with the kind of urgency that comes only when someone is packing through heartbreak. Travis stood frozen in the living room, staring at the engagement ring lying on the table like a piece of evidence from a crime he had just committed. He had gone too far. And not in the ordinary way couples sometimes push each other's buttons during a bad night. This was different. This was the kind of mistake you can't undo with flowers and an apology text. Because the truth, the part he couldn't say out loud yet, was so much worse than Taylor assumed. Donna had never said a single negative word about Taylor. Not one. She adored her. She bragged about her. She defended her. She treated her like family long before the engagement. But in his fury, Travis needed something sharp to throw. Something that would sting. Something that would make Taylor feel the hurt he'd been holding in for months. So he invented a conversation that never happened. Upstairs, drawers opened and slammed, luggage zippers rasped, and every small noise was another blow to Travis's chest. His hands were shaking as he grabbed his phone and called the only person he trusted to talk him off the ledge, his brother. Jason answered groggily. Trav, it's almost 3 in the morning. What's going on? I fed up, Travis whispered, voice raw. I fed up so bad, Jace. He told him everything. The jealousy, the argument, the accusations. And then, almost too ashamed to say it, the lie about Donna. The line went silent. Please tell me you didn't, Jason finally said, voice sharpening. Please tell me you didn't drag Mom into this. I panicked. Travis dropped his head into his hands. I was angry and stupid and jealous. You need to tell Taylor the truth, Jason said immediately. Tonight? She won't even look at me. Then stop her before she leaves. If she walks out thinking Mom said those things, you won't just lose Taylor. You'll lose Mom too. Before Travis could even respond, Taylor appeared at the bottom of the stairs with her suitcase. Her eyes were red and glassy, her cheeks splotchy from crying. She looked exhausted, emotionally, physically, completely. Taylor, please, Travis said, stepping toward her. There's nothing to talk about tonight, she said softly, shaking her head. We're both too upset. I need space. I need time. But you have to know. I need to know. Taylor cut in, her voice trembling but firm, that you trust me. That working with colleagues, regardless of who they once were, won't lead to nights like this. I need to know my career doesn't threaten our relationship. And I need to know your family supports us. She avoided the engagement ring on the table like it might burn her. If we can't have those things, she whispered, we don't have anything. She reached for her keys. I'll call you in a few days. Please respect my space. Then she walked out, closing the door with a soft click that felt louder than any slam. And for the first time in a very long time, Travis Kelce cried. The next 5 days were agony. Taylor didn't text him, didn't call, didn't even send a "I'm safe" message. According to her security team, she was staying in a private residence and had asked not to be disturbed. The silence was torture. Every morning, Travis reached for his phone before he was fully awake. Every night, he fell asleep on the couch with the TV still playing, hoping it would drown out the loneliness. At practice, he was a disaster. Drop passes, wrong routes, zero focus. Eventually, Coach Reed pulled him aside. Whatever's going on, he said gently, you need to fix it. Your head's not here. How could it be? On day 3, his phone rang. He saw the name and felt his stomach drop. Mom, Travis Michael Kelce, Donna said, her voice clipped. I just got off the phone with Andrea Swift. She asked why I supposedly told you Taylor wasn't good enough for our family. Travis closed his eyes. Mom, I can expel. You have 5 seconds. So he confessed. All of it. The fear, the jealousy, the stupidity of the lie. When he finished, Donna didn't yell. She did something worse. I'm so disappointed in you, she said quietly. That girl loves you more than anything. She has rearranged her entire world to make room for you. And you lied to her. And about me. Mom, I know. I know. Travis said, tears slipping down his face. You fix this, Donna said firmly. You apologize to Taylor. You apologize to me. And then you become the man I raised you to be. What if she doesn't forgive me? Then, Donna said, you live with it. But if you love that girl, you need to do something real. Something vulnerable. Something big. Those words lit a spark in Travis's chest. And he knew what he had to do. Not to see Taylor. Not to win her back. But to tell the truth. To the whole world, if he had to. February 14th arrived with a heaviness Travis had never felt before. Valentine's Day. A day that should have been filled with flowers, champagne, and Taylor's laugh echoing through their home. Instead, he sat alone in the quiet living room, surrounded by memories that felt like they belonged to someone else's life. 5 days of silence had stripped him down to the core. No interviews, no distractions, no escape, just regret, just truth, and the fear that he had already lost her. But Donna was right. If he wanted any chance at fixing what he broke, he had to stop hiding. He had to stop being the version of himself who lashed out instead of opening up. He had to be brave in a way he had never been before. So, he set up his phone on the coffee table. No lighting, no filters, no retakes. Just him. He hit record. "Hey everyone," Travis began, voice hoarse from sleepless nights. "This isn't the kind of video I ever imagined posting. But the person who needs to hear this isn't answering my calls." He took a long breath, steadying himself. 5 days ago, I had a fight with a woman I love. And in that fight, I said things I didn't mean. Worse than that, I said something that wasn't true. He swallowed hard, the shame visible on his face. I told Taylor that my mother warned me our relationship wouldn't work. That she said Taylor was too different, too famous, too much. He shook his head. None of that was true. My mom never said anything like that. I made it up because I was angry, because I was scared, because I didn't know how to tell her what I was really feeling. His voice cracked, but he kept going. "The truth is, I'm terrified. Terrified I'm not enough for someone like Taylor Swift. Terrified that the people she's worked with, people she once loved, are more talented than I'll ever be. Terrified that one day she'll wake up and realize she made a mistake." He looked into the camera, eyes glassy. Instead of talking to her about those fears, I pushed her away. I accused her of things I knew weren't true. I hurt her. The last thing I ever wanted to do. He reached for the engagement ring on the table beside him, holding it gently between his fingers. "Taylor, if you're watching this, that conversation about my mom never happened. I lied, and I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for not trusting you. I'm sorry for making you feel like you had to choose between your career and us." He exhaled, shaky and raw. I fell in love with Taylor Swift, the artist. The woman who works until 2 a.m., who fights for her music, who pours her soul into everything she creates. "I don't want you to be anyone but who you are." He placed the ring back on the table. "I don't know if I deserve to put this back on your finger, but I'm keeping it here for you, because I'm not giving up. I'm going to do the work. I'm starting therapy. I'm learning to talk instead of explode. I'm learning how to be a partner who builds, not destroys." He wiped his eyes. "I learned something from Taylor. She's never been afraid to be vulnerable. And I always thought vulnerability made you weak. But I was wrong. It's the bravest thing a person can do. And if I want to be with someone that brave, I need to be brave too." He ended the video with a quiet, "I love you, and I'm here whenever you're ready." He didn't edit it. He didn't rewatch it. He didn't ask anyone for approval. He posted it exactly as it was. Within 20 minutes, the video was everywhere. 3 million views. Tens of thousands of comments. Headlines popping up across social media. People praising his honesty. People criticizing the public apology. People analyzing every word like it was gospel. But none of them mattered. There was only one person whose reaction he cared about. And at 9:30 p.m., when the house was silent except for the ticking of the kitchen clock, he heard it. A key in the front door. Travis froze. The door opened slowly. Taylor stepped inside, shoulders curled in, eyes tired, face soft with exhaustion. She wasn't dressed up. She wasn't wearing makeup. She wasn't the superstar the world adored. She was just Taylor. "Hi," she said quietly. That was quite a video. Travis swallowed hard. It was the truth. All of it. Taylor set her bag down, her fingers trembling slightly. "Your mom called me," she said. "She told me everything. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry." "I was scared," Travis whispered. "I was scared you'd leave if you knew how insecure I was. How much it bothered me thinking about you working with someone you used to love. And instead," Taylor said, voice breaking, "I left because you lied." He closed his eyes. "I know. You made me think your family didn't want me," she said, tears gathering again. "That was the part that broke me." "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you." Taylor's expression softened, but the hurt was still there. Still sharp. Still real. I'm here, she said finally. But we're not fixed. Not yet. And for the first time in 5 days, Travis let out a breath that didn't hurt. Because she came home. And that was the beginning. Not the end, but the hard, messy, beautiful work of rebuilding. Travis Kelce was sitting alone in the dimly lit hospital hallway long after the doctors finished their evaluations. The fluorescent lights above him buzzed softly, and every sound echoed, as if the entire building were holding its breath. His knee wrapped in ice pulsed with a dull, deep ache, but the real pain was somewhere else, not in his body, but in the part of him that had always believed he was invincible. He stared at the blank white floor tiles, seeing memories instead of patterns, touchdowns, celebrations, roaring crowds, moments when football felt endless and simple. Those days felt far away now, like they belonged to someone else. His phone had been vibrating nonstop since the injury, but he couldn't bring himself to answer any messages, not from teammates, not from reporters, and not even from the people who were trying hardest to reach him. He didn't want to hear encouragement or pity or hope. He wanted certainty, and the doctors hadn't given him that. All he knew was that something was torn, something important, and even if the full results weren't in yet, he could feel in his gut that this wasn't just another bruise or sprain. This was different, heavier, darker, and he wasn't sure how to face it. Taylor arrived quietly, without the usual sound of heels tapping across the floor. She walked toward him with that soft, calm presence that always cut through the noise around him. His head lifted slowly when he felt her shadow fall across him. She didn't speak at first. She simply knelt beside him, her hand sliding gently onto his forearm, as if checking whether he was still there, still grounded, still breathing. He swallowed hard because suddenly the emotions he'd been fighting all night threatened to break through. He tried to force a smile, but it collapsed halfway. I don't know if I can come back from this, he said, his voice low, rough, and more defeated than he intended to show. Taylor's expression softened with something between heartbreak and strength. She leaned closer, brushing her thumb over his knuckles. Don't say that yet, not before we even know everything you've come back from. Things people said were impossible. Travis shook his head because he didn't feel like the superhero she believed he was. He felt like a man on the edge of losing the thing that had defined him for more than a decade. Taylor didn't push him. She didn't smother him with optimism or try to give him speeches. She just stayed there next to him, her presence warm, steady, unshakable. Whatever happened, she whispered, I'm not going anywhere. Those words settled in him like a heartbeat, strong and anchoring, and for the first time since the injury, he exhaled fully, letting his shoulders drop, letting himself lean into her, even if just a little. Hours later, they were led to a private consultation room, where the specialist explained what the initial scans suggested. The words were clinical, but the meaning was sharp: a severe ligament tear, possible surgery, months of rehabilitation, no guaranteed timeline, no guarantee. At all, Travis kept his jaw clenched as he listened, nodding mechanically, even though inside everything felt like it was collapsing. He thought of the locker room, the field, the fans, the career that had been built on resilience and dominance. Was it slipping through his fingers? When they stepped back out into the hallway, Taylor took his hand without hesitation. We will get through this together, step by step, she said, and though Travis didn't have answers, didn't have clarity, he had her standing beside him. And maybe for tonight, that was enough. A storm was coming, a long, painful, uncertain one, but he wasn't going to face it alone, not anymore, not ever. The morning after the diagnosis felt unreal. The city outside the hospital was waking up, traffic humming, lights changing, people rushing to work. But for Travis, everything moved in slow motion, like the world had shifted just a few inches off its axis. He sat by the window in the small private room, staring at the skyline, while the doctor's words replayed in his mind: a severe ligament tear, surgery, likely months of rehab, no promises, no certainty, no timeline that felt like hope. He wasn't afraid of pain. He'd played through it his entire career, but this was different. This was the kind of injury that could redraw the shape of a man's life, that could silence a legacy before he was ready to let go. The weight of it pressed so heavily on his chest that he barely noticed when the door opened softly behind him. Taylor stepped inside, carrying 2 coffees and a bag with breakfast. Even though neither of them was hungry, she moved gently, like someone entering a room full of fragile memories. She placed a cup on the table next to him. It's the one you like, she murmured, as if she didn't want to disturb the air around him. He didn't speak, but he nodded, grateful that she understood without needing explanations. She sat beside him, her knee brushing his, but she didn't rush him, didn't force conversation. She just waited, letting him find his voice in his own time. After a long, heavy silence, he finally spoke. "I don't know who I am without football." His voice cracked on the last word, and he swallowed hard, ashamed of the vulnerability spilling out. Taylor didn't flinch, didn't look away. She turned toward him fully, her eyes warm, steady, unshaken. "You're still you, Travis, with or without pads, with or without a jersey. None of that changes your heart." He looked down at his hands, big, powerful hands that had caught thousands of passes, hands that might never play the same again. "What if I can't come back? What if this is it?" Taylor reached up, placing her palm over his chest. "Then we face that when we get there. Not now, not before you've fought, not before you've even tried. You don't quit before the first step. You never have." Her confidence didn't erase his fear, but it wrapped around, it softened, it gave him something to hold on to. The thought of surgery terrified him, but the thought of giving up terrified him even more. He exhaled slowly, letting her words sink into the cracks forming inside him. Later that day, Coach Reed arrived, walking into the room with a fatherly heaviness. His eyes were gentle, but filled with a sorrow only people in the football world understood. "We're all behind you, big guy. Whatever happens, your family," he said, placing a hand on Travis's shoulder. The simple sentence nearly broke him, because it meant everything and nothing all at once. It meant love, support, loyalty, and it meant the quiet acknowledgement that the team was preparing for a future that might not include him this season or maybe longer. After the coach left, Travis leaned back in the bed, staring at the ceiling. "Everything's changing. I can feel it," he murmured. Taylor sat on the edge of the bed, curling her fingers around his. "Change doesn't mean the end. Sometimes it's the beginning of something you don't see yet." But even as she said it, even as she tried to pour strength into him, a storm lingered behind her eyes. She loved him deeply, fiercely, and watching him crumble hurt her in ways she didn't show. For now, she stayed silent, hiding her own fear, because his world was shaking, and she refused to let hers shake at the same time. That night, as Travis drifted toward sleep, his hands still wrapped around hers, she whispered a truth she hadn't said out loud before. "I'm scared too." But she said it so quietly he didn't hear. The path ahead was uncertain, painful, and long. The surgery date was coming. His career hung in the balance, and somewhere deep in the shadows of that hospital room, both of them wondered whether this moment would change not only his future, but theirs together.